Is that what it
Um,
is? Where is it you go right away to?
it's the Magic Container
Okay,
Cave,
yeah.
and it's I hopefully can get it enough that you've at least seen it once, but
I
I
don't
don't
think I
know.
have.
That
Usually,
pee
if you see
bag's
me
a lie.
practicing it, though, the pee bag's a lie. There's
That
not
pee
even
bag is a
there.
lie.
It
Yeah,
can feel
usually if
that
I'm
way.
practicing it, it's because I'm doing some other method besides the safe, slow method.
That's true. Maybe you were trying to get the other one.
It's amazing how many different setups there are for getting the pee bag. There's a couple of places that have a relatively high density of pee bags, but everyone, even for people who are going for the same time index, there's just different ways of doing it. I guess we may as well explain how that works because that's going to be the first big question that people will have about this run is what are they doing in this cave there? So the first thing you do once you start this run is you go down to the magic cave to get that magic container, and when you do that, you get 6 enemies in that cave, and if you kill the sixth one, you get a drop, which is either going to be a blue jar 7/8 of the time, or 1/8 of the time it'll be a 50 bag, and that 50 bag is extremely important to this run. And so what they're trying to do is kill that sixth enemy on exactly a certain frame that gets them a P bag drop, and it's all based on a global timer from when you start the run. So they got to be careful to do this all 100% consistently to get that P bag. So we'll see. We'll see if they get it or not.
Now, what kind of success rate do some of the top players get at this P bag?
I'd say
Um,
upwards of 30 to 40%.
yeah, probably close to half if you're really good. Are you all set to
Dang.
go? We can get these. We can let these players get going.
Yeah, we're live. We're all ready to go.
All ready to
All
go?
right.
Whenever they want to start, they are good to go. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that.
That's no problem.
Our eyes are
There we
on the
go.
speed run live chat.
That's right. We got one dot ready. We got two dot readies. Here we go. 10 seconds.
Actually, what we should have done is see if me and Fiesel are sort of synced up with the variation in Twitch delay. So we might be spoiling each other a little bit.
2009, 12. It's 12 to 13 seconds. It looked like Breastickle is starting about 1 second sooner than Opus was for me.
Same here.
Yep.
Okay. So that's close enough that it won't be too confusing.
Yeah. Except if like relative to each other, they're the same.
Sure.
But what if I'm 2 seconds behind on both or something? Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we'll know in a minute because
Anyway,
the chat will tell us. All
that's
right, so
right.
here we are. We're getting the magic container. Let's see. Got a 50 bag
It's this third Octorok here.
on Opus's stream.
There it is. So I am a little behind. Haha.
And Breastickle did not get it.
So what does Breastickle have to do now to make up for this missing
Well,
bag?
there's lots of different things you can do. It looks like he's just going for it. What I would do is go up to the trophy cave, because that's something you need to do at some point anyway. And it's a little bit out of the way to go to it now and then go back towards Palace 1. But I think you're going to lose about 10 seconds if you do that, but it's a nice guaranteed 30-ish experience that you get from that. And that's enough that you can make up for the 50 that you missed by not getting that P bag. Another option is to get the P bag in the forest. There's a little patch of forest with some bats, and you can go in there and get a P bag, but I'm not really so much in favor of that backup strat because it's a little inefficient. There's no other reason to go in there, whereas the trophy cave, at least you're accomplishing a goal, even if you're going out of your way to do it. Third option is just to go for it and hope that you get two 200 bags. Because there's 2 places in Palace 1 where you can get a large 6-count drop, which will either be a red jar or a 200 bag. You got a 50-50 shot at each. So to get both of them to go your way, it's a 25% chance. And you will need 200 bags if you don't get the 50 bag or any other means of getting some extra experience.
Oh, weird.
The
Looks like
typical...
Breastickle went to the trophy cave before Palace 1, but he went and got shield first before going to the trophy cave.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah, I
like
would probably...
he probably was like, all right, the place to go next is the town, and then realized, you know what, maybe I should do the trophy cave. And so even though it's a little slower to do them in that order, he is probably opting for this safe strat.
Yeah, he doesn't look as exceptionally comfortable with his strats in the dark in the trophy caves, so I'm gonna guess this is not something he likes to do or has practiced much, but I could be wrong. But he may have just decided, you know what, I don't want to have to reset because don't want to have to go through at a disadvantage because I couldn't get the experience. So it might have been a decision made kind of a little too late, like you said. But yeah, it would be faster. It would be faster to go to the trophy cave right away and then get the shield spell.
And if you can do the trophy cave optimally, it's about a 12-second loss over doing it after Palace 1.
12 seconds, okay.
Yeah, that's just extra overworld movement. That's about it.
Right.
Well, he is the weaker of these two players according to personal bests, and Zelda 2 is a game where you do have to think on your feet a lot, depending on specifically how these drops go early on. But there's even other cases where if you take a hit in a place where you don't expect to, and suddenly your life is different, and do I have the magic to cast life here, or do I need to save it? And you have to answer these questions very quickly, and it's the kind of thing that only comes with experience. So this sort of panicking and ending up with suboptimal sort of recovery strats, I think is something to look for, and it's something you're going to see in the weaker players, I think.
Sure. Well, I think any of the players are going to be a little uncomfortable going outside of their usual route, because most of these people, when they're practicing, most of us when we're practicing, we don't really tend to keep playing on with runs where we've screwed something up. Because usually it's more fun to get a PB than it is to just keep finishing out runs that are minutes behind your splits. So yeah, in a race, there's always that factor. You get thrown off by something that happens, and then that sort of cascades into other problems, which is one of the things that makes races interesting. You could really see it going either way. Even if you do see a big difference in the PBs between the players, it still doesn't mean that you know who's going to win.
I mean, look at the race between me and Cannot Fat Me last week. He's at the time his PB was 4 minutes slower than mine, but he finished maybe 15 seconds behind me. It was such a close race, and it was kind of like what you.
Zelda 2.
It was kind of like what you had just said, Feasel. It was one of those things where one thing went wrong on my end, and it just started snowballing into more and more things going wrong, and next thing I know, I'm 4 minutes behind PB, sweating going into the Great Palace.
Right, yeah, that could definitely happen, because you have to, once you get out of what you've memorized, it's a lot of thinking, and you don't want to be thinking during a speed run. You don't want to have to make decisions on the fly.
Generally, you're busy doing other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to find the right solution out of all the problems you can get yourself into in this game it just takes a long time to get that comfortable with the game, and to have screwed up enough times to have sort of figured out what to do when this goes wrong and when that goes wrong. And so it's I mean, I was kind of being a little harsh in calling them weaker players. I do think it's really only top tier super veterans that are going to be able to consistently get good times, because they know how to manage all of these sort of mini crises that you can find yourself in when you run this game.
Yeah, that's for an experience that you only really get from racing it. So go ahead.
I was going to say, Zelda 2 is one of those nice games where even when you lose a run and fail horribly, you shouldn't look at it as a failed run, more as a learning opportunity.
Yeah,
sure.
There's a lot of learning opportunities in this game. Maybe too many.
Every time I play, it's just a string of them.
Yeah, it's just one lesson learned after another.
So you guys are well into Palace 1 now.
Yeah, got the candle picked up there. Let's see. There were a couple interesting things back there, but we're kind of past them. But yeah, right now he's got to worry about his health. It's a little bit low. We might see him get the safety fairy. I don't know. If my PB was better than my opponent's by that amount, I might go for a safety fairy, because I mean, generally, you want to just be consistent because nobody is getting anywhere close to their PBs in any of these races. So you really just want to be sure that you don't get a game over. I think that's the worst thing that can go wrong. But he got a 200 bag. So right there, 2 skeletons ago, you saw him get a 200 bag drop, and that is really good. That's what he wanted because Opus already got the 50 bag, I believe. So that 200 bag that he got from that drop is all the experience he needs. He's about to take attack 3 right now. And that's all you need. You don't need to take any life or magic spells in this palace. He could choose to if he gets a 200 bag from this last enemy before the boss. He might do that and get life 2 so he can get a nice little refill. And he does get it. And he takes it.
Nice.
Let me know if I'm too far off there, Scav.
No, you're synced up perfectly with what I'm seeing.
Good. Beautiful. So yeah, that was very good for him. It was only a 25% chance he would have gotten both of those 200 bags, and that really is going to help him.
Meanwhile, a death for Breastickle. I'm gonna guess this was not intentional.
No, this is not a place there's no deaths in this palace that are helpful.
Even just like I'm not feeling great about my health, maybe I'll eat one here.
No, it's better to just try to truck it through till you get to the Fairy of Shame and take that.
Yeah, Fairy of Shame is still better than dying.
So you do get to pick up a bunch of extra lives. They are part of the 100% definition.
They're not, but
they're not.
Most people will because there's several lives that will save time.
They are pretty close along some of the critical.
Yeah, there's a couple that are right there along the way. But we did see Breastickle get a 200 bag, so that's very good for him.
Yes, that's a big help.
So neither of these players is going to be walking out of here with attack 3. So the final option we didn't discuss is that just forget the experience. Don't even bother trying to get to attack 4 by the time you exit this palace, and just go on with attack 3 and try to make up the experience elsewhere. But you're going to be chasing for the rest of the run if that's how you start out. So if you can avoid that at all, you definitely want to.
Yeah, you have to. When you're leaving with attack 3, you have to kind of go through Death Mountain a little bit differently than you normally would. Because normally you would take Magic 2 and Life 3 throughout Death Mountain, whereas if you're stuck with attack 3, you really can't afford the experience to do that. So most people just take Life 2 and go through Death Mountain
and that's it.
3-1-2 and then 4-1-2. Which means red Dyras are just decimating your life meter every hit.
Yep, and everything's just a little bit slower. When you're an attack level down, it's another 1 or 2 hits for all the big enemies. It's just you're leaking time all over the place if that happens to you. Fortunately, though, there are a lot of opportunities for drops. I think there's something like 4 or 5 or something like that. Probably if you include Palace 2, there's...
If you include Palace 2, there's
2 more drops in there. 6, yeah, there you go. So lots of opportunities to get 200 bags.
But Zelda 2 being the sentient cart that it is, it can tell that you need those bags and you'll get 6 red jars in a row.
Right, exactly. Zelda 2 knows. It just knows.
It never seems to have your best interests in mind, does it?
Never.
Return of Ganon is this game's goal.
Well, it looks like Opus is ahead coming out of Palace 1. And there's also that life advantage he has now on Breastickle, because you can use these lives the way a speedrun wants to, which is to take intentional deaths to refill particularly magic, but also health in certain spots, as well as it can save you some backtracking.
That's right.
But deaths, if you game over in this game, especially in this category, it's a huge time loss, because you go all the way back to the starting position, and you have to walk back to, I guess you need to get to the palace where you died. If you
or whatever room you were in.
Yeah.
Room you're in, you need to go to.
If you died in an overworld encounter, you need to get back to the overworld tile that you died on. You don't need to take an encounter on that tile, you just need to step on that tile.
Right, and this is done just to make sure that people don't take intentional deaths, because you don't want to have someone standing around going, yeah, that looked intentional, or no, that was not intentional. No judgment calls. You just got to go back to the spot. I think that's a good rule for this tournament. Because normally, okay, if you're not in a race, you game over and that's it. Reset, start a new run. But we don't want to have everyone forfeiting because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we probably
especially
would have quite a few actually.
trying to get newer people to start running this game. That seems
Right,
kind of
exactly.
Yeah, exceptionally brutal.
prohibitive to get new people into the game to go, hey, not only do you have to learn a new category, but if you game over, you're forfeiting. That just
Right.
didn't seem like a good idea.
So we saw Opus take, I think, 2 encounters on the way to Begu. That's average. You can do 0 encounters, or you can have up to 4 encounters, I would say, depending on how bad the enemies decided they wanted to be. But he did all right there. He's probably not too happy with it. He's got a 1:18:05 PB, so that's at the point where you really are going to start hating encounters.
Yes.
And we see that Breastickle is not doing the manipulation that most people do here. He's just going to go for it.
It looks like he tried to do something because he did intentionally step on a swamp tile there.
Yeah, that's not one that I've seen before.
That's one I used to do, but I stopped doing because it never works.
Oh,
maybe
okay. I think I know what you're talking about. That's
like-
an old one that Arctic Eagle did.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Maybe 5% of the time it would work out for me. I would usually get at least 1, if not 2 encounters. Whereas the one that everybody else is doing that I've been picking up lately works about 50-50 for me.
Well, the fact is, this is the wrong category for that encounter. The thing, if this is the thing that I'm thinking of that came from Arctic's runs, that's from any percent deathless, where you go straight there, basically.
You go
you're
straight
not
there
doing
and you
anything.
walk through 1 tile of swamp before cutting over.
Sure, but I mean, you don't do any other game objectives. Like, you start the game, you go through the boomerang cave, you
Oh,
get
I see
the
what you're
trophy
saying.
and the thing. So by the time you get there, you're actually not. It's actually a limited set of possible monster situations.
Yeah, the RNG
And
hasn't
as-
progressed as far.
Yeah, you're closer to the beginning of the game, so you have much more control over the number of possibilities that you've got there. So that actually works a lot better in any percent, but in 100% all keys, when you've already done a full palace, you're way off the counter. I mean, there's no predicting what you're going to get.
Do we want to back up and sort of explain
What happened
enemy
in that town there?
encounters?
Oh, enemy encounters. Sure, may as well. So there's 2 enemy encounters happening at a time. One is based on a timer. You can listen to the music to know where you are in that timer. And the other is based on the number of steps. There's a little more to it, but this essentially what happens is it keeps alternating between the timer-based one and the step-based one. So we'll see a few manipulations that depend on resetting the step-based one at a certain spot so that you can go over long periods of off-road without triggering monsters. I'll point that out when we get closer to one of those situations. But most of what we've seen so far in the encounters has just been straight up dodging. The monsters appear and you can pause bar for it if you want, but you got to just try to react quickly and dance around them.
Yeah, they are somewhat predictable. There's a 75% chance they do something predictable if they're in certain spots around you, and then a 25% chance they do whatever they want. So
Yeah, it's something like that, right?
It's really not easy to dance around them, but you can make some sort of educated guesses as to where these monsters are going to go each tile, and that can help you avoid encounters if you are really good at thinking on your feet, or you're really good with the pause button to see where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, you can always pause buffer the heck out of it, but the thing is, if it's just one set of encounters, anyone who's had a little bit of experience with it should be able to dodge it. But once you get the second set, then you start to get into some situations that can be unwinnable.
Yeah, encounters in that situation like to kind of wall you in, leave you with nowhere to escape.
Right. So we see that Opus got his first large 6-count drop, and it was a red jar. Because he came out of Palace 1 with attack level 4, he doesn't really need experience. At this point, from here to the end of the run, you don't need to rely at all on random drops. But that being said, it sure doesn't hurt to get a red jar every now and then, so you can just get a free cast of life. One of the nicest things about this category is that there's no penalty for getting the life spell because it's required. In other categories, you have to decide, am I going to waste a whole minute of my run to get something that's going to keep me alive? But fortunately, everyone gets it here.
Another reason why this tournament that's sort of aimed at getting some beginners into the game is doing 100% all keys. You'd think maybe, having such a long thing with so much to learn would be bad. But all of the shorter categories are just extremely dangerous because you
Right.
skip all of the things that can really help make a playthrough.
Yeah, exactly. You get all the
Smooth.
spells, you get all the items, and you kill enough enemies that you have just a ton of experience available to you. So it is very good. We're seeing, okay, you saw a moment ago on Opus's screen some double hits there. This is a pretty new technique, a new-ish technique. It's at least maybe people knew about it, but it didn't really get perfected, I feel like, until recently. But there's a few interesting things you can do with those enemies there. They sort of track your movement, these axe-throwing guys. But if you let go of the D-pad, if you jump at them and let go of the D-pad, then they stop tracking your movement. It's like if you try to run up to one of those guys or run up to an iron knuckle or something, you'll see them continually back up from you. But once you let go of the D-pad, they stop doing that. And so you can actually jump, let off the D-pad for a moment, and that lets you get a lot closer to these enemies than they would normally let you. And if you can get in really close on an enemy, you can do this thing where you do a standing jump slash and then hit the ground and then jump again and do a crouching jump slash and get sort of a double hit with just about as much delay as if you had been doing a single hit. So you can kill these things a lot faster and in some cases kill them before they get underneath some sort of inconvenient overhang or the edge of the screen or something like that. You don't want to push an enemy off the edge of the screen because then you won't be able to kill them and they'll just fall off the edge as if it was a pit. In particular, the one before the hammer, if you push him off the edge of the screen, then when you come back, he'll be standing right there, just a few tiles away from the door where you can't get past him without taking damage. It's pretty bad.
Both players made it to the hammer safely. No more unfortunate deaths. Whoa, the Breastickle bounces off an enemy there and gets pretty close, but he's good. Everyone's good. We got the hammer. This is a pretty Death Mountain's a bit of a sticky point, I think. Even in 100% all keys, you can see where you're going. Most of the other categories do this in the dark, but even still, there's a lot of ways things can go wrong. So it's good that both players are through.
Opus passes right by that graveyard one up. He is not interested.
Nice.
So I get asked a lot about, and he gets the encounter here. I'll talk about this first. He gets that encounter just to the left of that boulder, and that is ideal. That is the perfect spot. So now watch. When he walks off the path right here, encounter right away, immediately, and now he's gotten into the swamp and the monsters aren't following him.
I've noticed that encounter manipulation seems like it has a little bit more leeway than just that one tile, because I've taken encounters one tile to the left of that spot and one tile to the right of that spot and still gotten the same manipulation.
It's fine as long as, there's one direction you can miss in that's better than the other. As long as you don't get the second encounter like one tile earlier while it's still on the forest and they appear really close to you, you have to at least get through that forest tile before the next one appears. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems. But there's a lot of leeway. If you manage to not even make it to the boulder and take an encounter in the desert, you can still do that encounter manipulation.
Yeah, the 5-tile backtrack.
Right, exactly. So that's a pretty forgiving manipulation. Although you did see that he got a fairy as one of the monsters that appeared, and fairies don't behave according to the same rules as the regular monsters, so sometimes you can get a troll fairy.
Yeah, it's no threat. You're not going to die or lose health, but you will lose time.
You will lose time, and it will reset. It'll mess up your whole manipulation. So now you're gonna, come out of that fairy encounter, and the counters are going again, and you're probably gonna get another encounter before you get to the cave. So you don't want that. We did see Breastickle pick up the 1-up in the graveyard, which is good because he had that unintentional death. So sometimes I pick up that one because I'm just not too comfortable with the number of lives that I have, especially in a race. But people ask, can you just pick up that graveyard 1-up and take a death in the medicine cave, that little lava patch right by the medicine?
That's a fairly common strat.
Yep, it's fairly common, and you can do it. If the only reason, though, it doesn't save you time. It's actually a slight time loss, which is why most people don't do it. But if you are worried about having low magic, like if you had to cast the life spell at some point on your way out of Death Mountain, and you need to have about 2.5 bars of magic to cast jump in order to get up to the downstab area. Or is it 3 bars? It's
No,
something
it's
like that.
two. It's 40 points, so that would be
it's
2.5.
bars. Okay, yeah. So if you don't have enough magic for that, then yeah, you better get that one up in the graveyard and take the death so you can get your magic refilled. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of time in the fairy town.
Now, even with his unintentional death, Breastickle is doing really well compared to his splits. It says he's about a minute ahead of his splits right now.
And he is not that far behind Opus.
At all.
He's going to be in. Yeah, he's going to be in Fairy Town before Opus leaves it. So that's pretty good. Oh man, unfortunately, walk off the path there, and monster was waiting for him. But yeah, so in this town here, the 2 things you get. One of them is downstab, very important. It's a required sword technique for this for this category, everything's required, but it's something that people normally get. And also the fairy spell, which for non-all keys categories is probably the most important spell because that's what lets you skip keys. Here we just get it because this is 100% and because it's required to beat the game if you don't do out-of-bounds glitches.
Is it actually required? Oh yeah, Palace 6 and on the way to 3.
3, 6, and 5.
You're right.
And here we see we're in the heart container. You can do this heart container thing before or after Palace 2. I see most people doing it before, and I like it that way. The advantage of doing it after is this room is an identical copy of another room that you get just before you reach the Island Palace. It's the second part of that Island Palace cave. It looks exactly like that room. And it turns out that after you've beaten Palace 2, if you go into that heart cave and you kill that Goria in there, that Goria remains dead in the other copy of that cave that you go into on the way to Palace 3.
Really?
Apparently, yeah, they share the same flag.
I never knew that.
That flag gets reset every time you enter a town or a palace, which is why you never noticed if you always did Palace 2 before you did the heart container. But if you do Palace 2, then heart container, then you try to go to Palace 3, you're going to see that the Goria is despawned. It's kind of a weird little thing. Yeah, lots of weird little stuff about this game.
Yeah, I've always just done the heart container before Palace 2 because I like the encounter manipulation you can do coming out of the cave.
Oh yeah, same here. And I think that's probably why most people do it. And it doesn't slow you down that much to kill a Goria, an extra Goria, especially if you have downstab. But
no, I think at that point it only takes 2 hits to kill the Goria on the way to Palace 3.
Yeah, something like that, right? And you might even get lucky and be able to just, jackhammer and then a backward slash or something like that.
Yeah.
To not even stop.
Opus is into Palace 2 here, and hopefully you get a chance to see, Breasticle's experience. I guess once you count the enemies that Opus has killed, they'll be about even. I noticed that earlier Breastickle was a little bit behind, and while you said neither of them's going to run into trouble, they're not going to have to go off route because of their experience, but it does help to get attack 5 just a little sooner. It's one less swing on a couple different enemies. So if you're at the high level and you're really looking for a couple extra seconds here and there, you're going to want to try to get all the experience you can to get that 5 as fast as possible. Not too much, because that actually can throw you off in a different way. But I was wondering if Opus was going to have 5 sooner than Breastickle, but I think they're about equal.
Opus should be getting attack 5 right before the... Or actually, he should get it in the hallway with the bubbles and the 2 orange iron knuckles, if my math is right.
You just skipped a skeleton, so that could change it. Skeletons, I'd say, are the only things really worth skipping in here, because they're a little bit of a pain. They take 2 hits to kill, but they're also so jumpy.
Yeah.
Just don't like jumpy skeletons. So he's coming in here with Beam Sword. That's going to make this a bit easier. Oh, he didn't even bother to pre-Beam Sword that first bot. I usually like to do that if I come in here with Beam Sword, but this is one of the worst rooms in this palace for sure, but maybe even the whole run. And he plays with lava plus bots is terrible.
Yeah, the dripping thing doesn't help either.
Yeah, the dripping thing does not help. Oh, he gets a 200 bag, and now he's got his attack. He's got his attack 5 going.
Yep, ruined the calculations.
Yep, all bets are off. Doesn't even need to get the red jar from that head on the wall, but he could have gotten a free red jar there.
It looks like Breasticle's already taken a hit on this this first hammer throwing dude. What
Stuff
is this?
does a lot of damage this early on,
Yeah.
so watch out. All right, block trolling or no block trolling?
I've seen you get absolutely crushed by these blocks in some ways that are pretty incredible.
Right,
Oh,
I've
you're
seen
not-
some
You're not an
hilariously
actual
unfair
Zelda
things.
2 speedrunner until you've gotten trapped on both sides by those and not
Right,
enough
sometimes
magic
you
to
walk
jump
in.
out.
Yeah, you just walk in and suddenly an enormous stack drops on both sides of you, and you're just like, what do I do now?
Oh, I'll just cast jump. Wait, my magic meter is empty.
Yeah. But sometimes the game, it doesn't even mess around. You just walk in and it's like, boom, you're in jail. Take that. All right, so we saw Fairy to pick up that item there. Very common question. Why cast Fairy? Well, because when you pick the item up, holds it above his head and it goes do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and then he starts moving again. So much faster to go into your inventory, select Fairy, use it, and then there's no pickup animation for Fairy. You touch the item and keep on moving. So you're going to see these guys ferrying pretty much every item that they can do that on. The only ones that they won't are probably the cross in Palace 6, and I think there's one more that people don't typically.
Well, fairy does cost
The
a
candle,
lot of magic,
obviously.
especially early on.
Yes, it does. They make it prohibitively expensive early on, so you're not using it all over the place.
The boots are another one that I see people not ferrying sometimes.
Yeah, if you don't do the death, if you're doing the deaths, if you're doing all the deaths, then you're going to have plenty of magic to work with in Palace 4. But yeah, if you're skipping some of those deaths, then you might not do it there. A little bit of, okay, good. Breastickle made it through that terrible room.
Yep, he cast jump there to make it a little more consistent.
Jump helps. I feel like jump helps, but if you're going to be using any kind of magic, just have Fairy queued up in case you fail.
True.
I actually
is the-
queue up Fairy, and then I go into the room and I do the beam strat that you were talking about on the first bat, and then I downstab the key and just Fairy through the rest of the room regardless. Because you have a free
Yep.
refill coming up in the next room anyways, you might as well just Fairy through that room and eliminate any chance.
So Breastickle does not get the 200 bag that Opus got. He got the jar, but that's okay because he was pretty low on health and magic. So he was able to get the jar, cast life, I think maybe even twice, but he was able to refill his health and then grab the extra jar in the head and get back
Right.
on full on magic. So he's
Yeah, and he's
good
at
to go.
1907 experience right now, so that is plenty. See,
Yeah.
he can even afford to Fairy past these enemies. Let's see if he gets the magic. Oh, he got the despawn, so it doesn't even matter if he got the magic pixel.
He had the pixel though.
He had the pixel. It's hard to get it on the way back though, because you have to ruin your line to pick up that glove.
That's right. The magic pixel is what lets you fairy under the ceiling but over the iron knuckle without getting hit.
Yep. Doesn't get the 50 bag. Doesn't care apparently. Opus though just wrecked helmet head. So that's all over. Did he
Wow.
equip the
He
fairy
got a-
spell?
I'm not
Sorry,
sure,
go on.
but I know he did get a gold split on that and saved 27 seconds from his PB, so that was a monster Palace 2 for him.
Oh wow, yeah, that sure was. That's a gold split. I'm not sure if you equip the fairy there, but that's what you want to do. Every time you put a crystal in the monument and it plays that little fanfare music, you can go in and out of your menu without it taking up any time. So every time you place a crystal in a palace, except for Palace 1 where it doesn't really matter, you're going to want to go in there and equip a spell because it's free time, free menu time. And almost always that spell is fairy. I think in my route, every time it's fairy, but you could do other things. So he gets an encounter in a relatively okay spot. Oh, he could have just gone straight south. I don't know now. Okay, good. He made it to the path. He's all good. So he's not even going to go visit the tour guide. And this is one of the first spots where fairy is required.
That's right, you go from Palace 2 pretty much straight to Palace 3 on this route. You get, there's a heart container that requires the hammer, and it's near Palace 2, so it makes sense to leave Palace 2 until you have the hammer, and that means you can get Fairy as well before you do Palace 2, which saves time in Palace 2 as well. And it means you're all ready for Palace 3 as soon as you come out of there.
Right, yeah, a bunch of the stuff that you saw these guys doing doesn't need to be done before Palace 2. It would maybe, by some people, be done between Palace 2 and 3.
Actually, that was the when I used to play this as a kid, that was the route I took. Was I would do Palace 2 and then Death Mountain. I think that's the Nintendo Power route as well.
I think it is
they
the
intended for you
intended
to.
route. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is, because you can get to Palace 2 without doing Death Mountain, and probably they expect you to be pretty put off by Death Mountain and not even try it until you're pretty powerful.
Yeah, that was Nintendo Power's reasoning behind it. So they said something along the lines of, you use Palace 2 to get your levels up to like 5s across the board before going to Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas speedrunners kind of see it the opposite, actually. They want the experience from Death Mountain to go through
Yeah,
Palace
right.
quickly.
It's
Exactly.
amazing how many things get flipped on you when you start speedrunning this game, because you spend your whole life playing it casually, hoping to see fairies on the overworld to help you refill your life. Then you start speedrunning it, and every time you see a fairy, you're just screaming at your TV.
Right. And you also take the levels as soon as they pop up. You're like, yep, I'll take that level, sure. And as a speedrunner, you're like, no levels, no, cancel.
Yeah. Is this what? Do I take it now? I can't remember. Oh God, it's
Right.
the source of anxiety every time you level up. Breastickle,
All right, so
yeah, through
Go ahead.
Palace 2 here with a pretty okay kill on Helmet Head.
he is currently over a minute ahead of his PB. So
Yeah.
we got one player who's playing better than their PB and one player who's playing a little bit worse than their PB. And that tends to happen with people who have sub 120 times. Most of the runs they do are going to be worse than their PB just because they've put a lot of time into getting a really good PB. So chances are in a race they're not going to get anywhere close to it.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a PB yet in this tournament.
I'm not sure. Yeah, we've
There's
seen
been a
some
couple
almost
matches,
PBs.
but yeah, there's been some pretty close calls and some pretty good times, but I don't think we haven't seen the sub 120 yet, right? We've got some
Not
people
yet.
knocking on the door, but not quite.
Opus could do
Breasticle's
it.
cart. Crap
Yeah,
out.
so my stream
Yeah,
is
Breasticle's
bad,
got
so
some cart situations
been
here.
doing bad things, and so I was like,
He
oh,
might
it's my
have to
stream
take-
acting up, but
We should pop into his chat and tell him to take an intentional game over and just go back to where he is, because his cart's going to end up soft locking on him, and he's not going to have his game saved. Like, he should do it now. I mean, if he can get through this palace, fine, but eventually his cart's going to completely crap out.
we could have a Ninja Turtles situation on our hands.
Right, mind your P's and Q's situation. Well, it seems to have cleared up. Maybe he'll be okay for a little while, but I would seriously consider just take an intentional game over and save, and then reseat your cart.
Man, the NES. All right.
Keep your stuff clean. It doesn't have to happen. Keep your
Yeah.
stuff clean. All right, well, let's talk about Palace 3. We haven't said a thing about it yet. So we're in Palace 3 now. Generally, there's more experience here than you need. 633 is what most people like to come through here with. I've seen some other things, but 633 is a pretty good number, I think.
634 is the other common one.
Yep, just means you have to have a little more experience and you can't skip as many things, but you can do it. You get the raft here. Not much to say about that, except that we saw our first instance of a jackhammer in that raft room.
Yeah, the jackhammer is a fun technique, I think, to use, and also
Not so hard to do.
not hard and very useful in limited spots. But when you can use it, boy, is it really handy. Basically, your regular attacks are bound by this attack animation that Link has, but your down stab does not really have that. So you can basically down stab as fast as you can hit down. So, I mean, is that correct? If you had
Yeah.
like 30 hertz mashing,
Sure.
you can.
Yeah.
You sure could.
So
It's
most people
technically,
don't have that.
the way it works is it's a one frame animation for the down and up stab. So you don't have to wait for the animation to finish to be able to do another one. It's just
Yeah.
the animation's active while you're hitting the respective direction on the D-pad. So by mashing, it's just cycling that animation over and over, giving you a new active hitbox every time.
Yeah, the other thing that works like that is what we call either the whirlwind or the panic dolphin. And
Controlled
basically
dolphin.
you just the controlled dolphin. Is the
I've
version of
I've tamed that beast.
Tame the dolphin.
I had
Nice.
I
Alright.
literally I had a Thunderbird fight earlier today that was one hit away from a one cycle.
Oh, very nice. Or we might see a jackhammer here on the right. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. But boom. It's easy to do. It's easier to do in these 3-tile high areas with the ceiling because you don't bounce off of them.
Yeah, Iron Knuckles love to stay there and guard items usually in these palaces, so they quickly become the victims of jackhammers. There's also a particular boss where the jackhammer is technically the fastest way to go about it, but it's not too much faster. And boy, is it risky, but also boy, does it look cool. So
Yep, Barba and Palace 6. It's cool. I don't know. We might see Opus or Breastickle try it this time. We'll see.
I think
there's another
Opus
boss.
is a part of Team Jackhammer.
Is Team Jackhammer? Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have that to look forward to. Pretty soon you're going to start seeing a lot more people using Jackhammer on Goma as well, especially in this category where you go into that fight with just a ton of life and a ton of magic and the shield spell. So there's no risk at all to trying funky things in that fight. But that's, I think, going to start to become part of people's repertoire. So here we see... Yeah, I'm definitely going to start messing around with it. But here we see the fire spell. Pretty useless in a speed run, but we have to get it because this is 100%. All it does is it gives you sort of like a permanent beam sword that happens to be a fireball. And the fireball can damage a few enemies that the regular sword can't, mostly the Tektites and the Zoras. Neither of which you really need to kill because there's not that many of them, so that kind of makes it useless. It does go long distances. It goes the whole width of the screen and it goes through objects, so there's maybe sometimes that you'll see somebody use it for that. But
from downtown, they throw it and wait for it to get all the way to the side of the screen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'd see it in Palace 7 if you take the alternative route. You can use it to kill some enemies through the breakable blocks.
The Tektites would probably be more of a problem if you couldn't downstab to kind of bounce off of them and keep going. I imagine actually they would be kind of a pain, but because
Oh, he's standing in the wrong spot. No, he's standing too far to the right now. You gotta go a little further left, man. There's like a certain tile seam that you want to be on. Oh, but well.
So he does. Yeah, he does get under there. Oh, then he loses it. Oh man.
Yeah, he's having some problems now. It's a little. If you don't get him to stop exactly at the edge of the screen, this is a pretty tricky way to fight him.
Right. This is.
And now he's being elusive. So now you've got to reset your position relative to him. You could do that by jumping and letting go of the D-pad, or you can go to the right and then back to the left. But it looks like he's managed to.
He's got him
under control.
Barely eked it out.
Barely.
Yep, that was not clean, but not dying there is actually huge. So he comes up with a clutch kill there, I guess, is what
right.
I'll give him points for.
A lot of people standing in the wrong spot in this race. This is the kind of thing, like, if you guys, if anyone who's listening who runs this category, if you don't know where the spot is, like, seriously,
find
just
the spot.
look it up.
Look at the bricks.
Watch somebody's run. Anybody's run. Everyone stands in exactly the same spot. Look at Link's feet. Look at the bricks. It's so important.
You want Link facing to the right, and you want the right side of his back foot on the black seam of the tile underneath, the 6th seam.
Yep, and there's even a little bit of leeway. You don't have to be right on target, but just be somewhere close to it. Because otherwise this fight is so brutal.
Yeah, but the Opus, I think, nailed it. And if you can go ahead and rewind your internal videos,
well, he had the right spot. He had some pretty poor RNG.
Yes, there is some RNG.
He did it right. It wasn't his fault.
Right. You want Rebenak to be way on the left side of the screen, right when he gets off his horse, so that you can just kind of bounce and jackhammer him on the side of the screen. But once he gets off his horse, where he goes is very much random. So you're just helpless, bouncing, hoping he walks under your sword. And sometimes he doesn't, and that sucks.
Opus with a second try super yum.
Yeah, I got it on the second try. Very good. So that's a 1 pixel jump. You're not supposed to be able to get up to that rooftop with jump, but you can if you jump from the right spot. And I think you said, Scav, that you could miss it 8 times before it starts to be...
The 8th time you're breaking even.
8th time is the break even. So you see him walking left here. You're supposed to go all the way up to this low building right here. And that's your inroad there. You jump on that and then go follow the rooftops over, but speedrunners don't need to do that. But that gives you the upstab sword technique. This you would not get this if it wasn't 100% because it's not required to beat the game.
And it's useful in about
3
well, I don't know,
places.
5 spots. Okay, 3 spots.
Yeah, well,
The MOA when you come into Palace 4, the MOA
Yeah.
in the room with the invisible pit in Palace 6, and to poke the blob in Great Palace.
yep, poke the blob in Great Palace. You can also do some things to the jumping bird knights. You have the upstab. There's a place where you upstab
Yes.
onto the doom knockers. There's a few things where you can use it, but you don't need to.
Yeah, they're safe strats, really. Safe.
You're meant
consistent.
to use it in, yeah, right, safe strats, but you're meant to use it in Palace 4. There's a key that you need to break through a ceiling to get to, but you don't actually need to do that because of a glitch where you can cast a jump spell and jump and get just a little bit into the ceiling and be able to break those blocks from the side. So you don't even need it for that.
And I think we missed it, but I think Opus got did he get both skips on his way to Darunia?
No, he struggled with the second one a little bit.
Right. You can this is a common sort of skip that gets used sort of from here on out, where you bait an enemy to go on top of one of these fixed encounter tiles, and you run on the tile at the same time the enemy does. It doesn't have to be super perfect, you know, as long as the enemy's heading towards it and you're heading towards it, you're good. But you can also have the enemy heading towards your own tile, I believe, right? The one you're exiting as well as the one you're entering. Anyway,
Wait, what was the question again? Sorry, I missed it.
the encounter skips.
Right, yeah.
It's not that important. You try to get the enemy there on top of the tile, and then you have an encounter with an enemy rather than the very long fixed encounter on that tile.
Sure.
It's a little trolly, it's a little random with these enemies, but as we said, there is some method to the madness in the way they move. So with a bit of practice and a bit of luck, you can.
And a bit of pause buffering.
Yep, and that helps too, to help you with your reactions. You can sort of control them, corral them, and get them where you want them to be. And it looks like Breastickle has no problem getting both of them.
Yep.
Maze
So-
Island.
Yeah, Maze Island. Not much to say about this thing. The rule of thumb is to know the right way, or to find the right way, just always go the branch that looks longer. If you see 2 ways to go to the next checkpoint, take the one that looks harder. Take the one that looks longer, because that's the one that's not going to have an encounter on it.
Ooh, I don't know if it was just me, but I saw some purple palette coming out of Breastickle. I think his cart might be up to shenanigans again.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't have like a bad break situation where he gets into Valley of Death and all the mountains are in the wrong
Oh
place.
man, that was incredible. What is
That was
the
a
deal
great
with that?
screenshot.
I've actually had that happen on a legit Zelda 2
On a
cart.
legit cart. So that's amazing. I thought that was just a save state. That was just save state junk from Power Pack, but
No, because he put up that picture and said this is what happens when you do runs on Power Pack, and I just commented like, it happens on cart too. I've lost a run to it.
well, we're in Palace 4 right now.
Did he come here before getting Reflect? I really doubt it. I'm pretty sure we
No,
just
he
missed
got
it.
Reflect.
Blob and-
Opus did.
Yeah.
Opus got Reflect.
Okay.
All right, so he's
He's-
casting jump here because he doesn't want to fall down because there's no way back up unless you go all the way down and take the elevator, which is terrible. You don't want to do that. And let's see how many deaths he takes. He's casting jump in this room, makes things a little easier. See if he takes the death here. This is a spot where it is worth it to go get an extra one up. Oh, nope, he's getting the red jar. That means he's not going to take the death.
Or maybe he's looking for the jar. If he gets the Iron Knuckle, then he takes
Yep.
the death. That's
It
the
could
thing.
be.
That's exactly
Yep.
what he's doing.
But if you are, a weaker player or just a player who knows they can play it safe, that's one of those spots where, maybe I don't kill myself here, and just in case something goes wrong and I die somewhere else, I have that extra life to help me out.
Yep, I have to admit, I did not. When I was doing my race the other day, I did not take that death
Yes,
there. I took
Bad
the
Breaks.
one.
He's-
I'm sure
he's-
Bad Breaks didn't like that.
No,
but
he didn't at all. He was
I got to the
ashamed.
end of the game with like 5
Four,
lives
yeah,
left.
you had a
4
screenshot
lives.
where I just remember seeing the ×4. Bad Breaks was just shaking his head. Oh man.
Did not like that.
That's okay. That's okay. You had solid time actually. You were 120.50 something.
120.30 something, I think.
Still better
Yeah.
than my PB.
Thanks. So, yeah, okay, here's another spot where we might see a death. There's no red jar in this one, I don't think, is there? So,
He's got enough magic for jump, so I think he's gonna skip the death. Or
He's
no,
gonna
no,
skip
he's gonna take it. He's down to
because he's got to cast jump to
Yeah.
get the key in the ceiling.
he's gonna take the death.
So, yeah, he's got to take it. And that does save you some time backtracking. It takes a long time for the death to happen and the BB sucks screen to pop up. But
It's about 3 seconds that
you
it
still do
saves.
save 3 seconds.
That's why a lot of people prefer to use those just as a magic refill utility.
Mhm.
Like when I death abuse in Palace 4, I never do it with the plan of saving time as a result. I only do it if I need magic, even in PB attempts.
Right, and if you think about it, let's say you're losing 3 seconds or saving 3 seconds, but I mean, you think of the amount of time that you're losing by waiting for the whiz robes. You know, imagine if you just didn't have to worry about your health because you were going to get constant refills of magic and health from all these deaths. You can just plow right through everything in this palace and hopefully make up even more time.
Not to
Just what
mention,
By not
Opus-
having to be cautious.
Opus is doing pretty much that. There's a projectile coming behind him, and he's like, "Well, you know what? I'm just gonna jump and let it hit me. Doesn't matter."
but yeah, and
saw
it
that
also leads to having an extra
wait.
cushion life or two in Palace 5, 6, and Great Palace can lead to you playing more aggressively and faster as well.
Mhm.
Breastickle had a fun situation there. He hit the statue hoping for the jar and got the iron knuckle, but then the Moa he killed ended up doing the six count and dropped the red jar for him there. So
That's a
it's what he
freebie.
wants. Yep.
Yep. All right, see here. Oh, he actually uses upstab and then casts jump. You don't even need to use upstab to break that brick. You can just jump into the ceiling to the right of that brick and then slash at just the right time, and you break it from the side, which is how you would do it in a run that wasn't 100%. Assuming you even got that key. And on Breasticle's screen, we see him going through the lava room. Oh, he got the...
Oh wow.
That's always really funny.
What?
The air jump. That thing can jump from the air. There's
Nice.
just no restrictions, apparently. Oh, here he can hit that and cast fairy. Look at that.
Yeah, that thing only sets itself as being unjumpable if it jumped itself and it's in the air. If it ends up in
Right.
the air from walking off of a ledge, it can still jump.
At least it didn't jump up underneath him and knock him into the lava or anything.
Oh, that's happened to me
Yeah.
before. It's fun.
It does happen because it's a real surprise when that goes on. I
I'll
mean, if
bet.
you're not used to seeing it. So this room we see Opus in. This is when you really want jump for. Those freaking heads, those horse head things will knock you right in the lava. It's pretty terrible.
Yeah,
this
you can stay synced with them while you have jump, right? Because you can just
Right.
keep moving, and
You
then
can,
they're always
but
going to be there.
But the first time that the second head spawns, it's like right at a spot where you start your jump and he's not there. But as you're about to land, he suddenly comes out of nowhere and can knock you in if you don't land in the right spot. And I see people dying to that all the time, and you can see it coming, and it's awful. So yeah, that room's pretty bad. Doesn't take a death in it because he has full magic. Normally, almost everyone would take a death there if they don't have some other means of getting their magic refilled, because you need to be able to cast Reflect to fight this boss. This is the only required use of Reflect, although you'll see people in speedruns use it in a few other places. You might see it at Thunderbird if either of these guys gets there with magic level 8. But here we
So,
have Karak. Go for
I'm
it.
slacking on the layout change game. I just switched to our Palace 4 layout. Whoops.
For shame.
Whoops.
We had wait, you made them. I was going to say we had Scavenger make them. You're Scavenger. You made them. Thank you very much. They're very awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, tons of positive things said about these layouts in all the channels. So
Here's the
Nice
carrot
work.
fight. Looks like he's misbehaving.
yeah, this is a
Fair
typical
bit.
Karak fight. Had a good run going, and then Karak decides to garbage
He's
it up.
Almost straight up killed him. So
And
it's
looks like he lost about 15 seconds
Yeah.
to his PB, so
Total, he is
Probably
plus
mostly due to Carrick.
114 now
Yep.
from his PB, and we don't have the numbers in from Palace 4 yet, but as of Palace 3, Breastickle is 2 minutes ahead of his PB. So there's a 3-minute sort of closing of the gap in their PBs in this race, and we could, even without a game over, maybe just something bad that happens to Opus, and we could have a really tight race on our hands.
Not that we want anything bad to happen to
No.
Opus, but it's certainly possible that that this race could get suddenly very close. So Opus coming into Palace 5 right now. Let's see what to say about Palace 5. It's not one of the more difficult palaces, to be honest. Probably the hardest thing about it is these Magos that appear all over the place, and they're not even that difficult. It's just that they're so unpredictable. There's a wealth of experience in here, way more than you really need for any routing choice that you might have made. But the one thing you got to remember is go back and get this key. This is probably the worst part about the palace, is just when you're used to other categories that skip this key.
You remember,
you gotta go back for it sometimes.
Because of course the fairy cannot pick up the key. Can pick up lots of things, but not the key.
Nope, not stuff that you have to stab. So no key, no pea bag.
Now, I have seen you looking for a Magos kill before in your runs for that extra experience to get topped up. So
that's right.
What is that about? What situations is it when you find yourself there?
It's pretty much every time. I mean, I always, with my route, I like to get I need to get an extra 200 from something, or an extra 150 from something. Well, maybe about 200. But there is a 50 bag that you can get for a fraction of a second delay, and there's a blue iron knuckle that you would normally skip that you can kill, so you can make up that 200 by other means. But I like to just kill a Mago most of the time. Through all the rooms that have Magos, there's usually one that you'll manage to kill almost by accident.
Yeah, I saw Opus. It looked like he had an opportunity to do a turnaround slash to finish off a Magos, but he opted not to, so I'm wondering if he's not too worried about the experience. He does get through that really trolly block room where you have to get the key and let them stand up, so it wasn't a very fast pattern, but I don't think he took any hits, including some style points along the top of the screen at the end.
It could certainly have been much worse than that, so that went all right in my book. And he does take the magic level up. So he is we'll have to see what he does for experience.
Ooh,
if he's taking the magic level up this early, I think he's fine on it.
Breastickle gets clipped there by a Stalfos, I think it was. Not going to waste too much time, but he is down another life, and that limits his options and just makes it that much more dangerous for future deaths. It might force him to play a bit safer in spots.
Well, let's see how Carrick treats him. He's gotten shield equipped just in case. Oh, he's just going to cast it regardless. I didn't see if he got the first hit, but that's the only one you can control in this fight. Oh, he missed. And then beyond that, just pick a side and stand there and wait. I haven't really seen anyone make a convincing argument for any strategy besides that so far.
I wonder if you could do some math based off of...
Like, what's the optimal spot to stand?
Yeah.
Just give you the best, chances, statistically speaking. Maybe. But, I don't know, you lose a lot of time if he hits you.
Right.
Because you're temporarily disrupted from your reflecting pattern.
But he's down. No close calls there or anything. Not a very fast fight, but also not a very dangerous one for Breastickle.
Okay, well, the flute has been picked up on Opus's screen. He needs that in order to get to the next palace. You need it to pass the river demon. It doesn't really serve for very many purposes. You use it once you get past the river demon, once to make Palace 6 appear. Sort of redundant as a sequence item goes, using it twice to get to the same place in the game.
Right.
But that's all it does.
And it makes you wonder, like, what sort of lore reason is there for this flute? Does it tame evil monsters, or does it summon ancient temples? Like, what is the deal here? But I mean, it's kind of cool to blow a whistle and have a palace appear. So that's probably what they were thinking when they left it in. Slight detour for a heart container there that I
Just
feel
doing it
like
early.
yeah, you can do it now or you can go straight to the palace, but
Most people usually do the heart container afterwards because it sets up a nice encounter skip on the way to the river demon. Just walking those extra steps lets you get your monster step cycle into a nice convenient spot to be able to skip some enemies.
is that the river dance or is that
That's
something
the
else?
river dance.
Yeah, nice.
That's what it is.
I love these little names that people come up with.
Yeah. And now there's also the tomb walk. There's a bunch of names for that are coming up for some of these encounter manipulations. I like it.
Breastickle does not forget the key either.
Yep, very important. And we have Opus coming into the final stretch here. He's got one more key to go, and then he's going to fight Guma.
Guma is you were talking about this earlier that you have a lot of health and magic in this route, so that you can play sort of risky on him. What is this risky strat that you can do on Guma?
Well, it's Jackhammer. Well, there's lots of ways of fighting him that are risky. So, I mean, you could just go all out and fight him with the old strats, but the strat that I think is going to start gaining a lot of ground here is the Jackhammer strats in this category, where you basically jump at him and perhaps take damage, perhaps not, but one way or the other, you get Link inside of Guma's hitbox, and then you can just mash down on the D-pad and deliver a lot of hits really quickly, and it makes one of the slower boss fights go by really quickly. It's very fun when it works.
When it works. It
When
is
it
a little
works.
it is a little tricky to get inside his hitbox reliably.
Oops, Opus broke the wrong block there. He wanted to break one block to the right in order to get that skull bubble to behave, but he missed it. Coming into this boss here, he's got way more than enough health to work with. He doesn't need to kill any of this stuff. He just does it because he can do it in one hit, so why not? Here we go, casting shield, queuing up life. Let's see if he goes for it. Nope, he's just going with traditional strats. But yeah, with shield and full health and the ability to cast life, there's nothing to be afraid of in this boss.
Well, it
Yo,
does like
cast
he is
life.
trying to get in there a little bit.
Yeah, he was trying to get in there, but why didn't he? Oh, I guess he did cast life earlier, didn't he? Wow, that was still really close. We were talking about how safe it is, and he
Yeah.
almost died.
He is kind of I want to say unpredictable. I've seen him do some really mean things.
He is. All these bosses, they can wander, they can meander side to side. What is he doing? Wait, did he already get the heart container before going there?
Maybe he didn't know, and he was just kind of like the mental check. Did I do that? Yeah, I did. Okay, keep going.
I can't remember if he did. Well, no, I think he was taking that extra step in order to set up the river dance.
Okay.
What is he doing? What was that?
He's waiting for the encounter to do an encounter skip. It looks
He
like
forgot the heart
misses it.
container.
But he did
I
forget
think
the heart
he forgot
container.
the heart container. That's like, I'm trying to understand what his setup is
Yeah,
here.
I was waiting for the health bars to confirm, and sure enough, he's only got 6, and he definitely should have 7 at this point.
But yeah, normally that thing that he was trying to do there would have worked a lot better if he had actually gotten the heart container, because the number of steps that it takes to get over there. He even took the extra 2 steps that are also part of the setup. He's going back. He's going back for it.
All right.
Yeah, there's no other way. There's no other time to do it. Now's
Yeah,
the time.
the longer he goes before realizing it, the more time that's backtracking, right? So it's good that he's realized it somewhat soon. Who
This
knows
race
how
just
long
got a lot
it could've been.
closer.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
watch
sure did
this.
now. Yeah, because Breasticle's already picked up that heart container, so he doesn't need to do that. He's going to finish this dungeon off and be right on to the next one.
Now, Opus
Too far,
does have
man.
a clear
Too far.
advantage in the late game, especially
Oh,
being an
he doesn't know what it
experienced
is.
any percent
Oh, no.
runner.
There we go. Sorry, say that again?
I was going to say Opus has a definite edge in the late game of this race, just because of his experience running glitched any percent. That makes Great Palace at 100% all keys levels to a relative pushover.
That's right, Great Palace. That's the one that you're probably have the most experience playing if you do the glitched route. Yeah.
And you're
Skip
used
the
to
rest
doing
of
it
the
with
game.
no heart containers and 252 leveling.
Well, he could have done the river dance right here, and he didn't.
What the heck are
I
you
guess
doing,
he would-
Opus?
I guess he wasn't sure if you could do it again, you know, or if he had blown his
You're
chance.
starting from the same spot. It's exactly
Yeah.
the same principle. But that's okay. Well, that's the reason. Well, we haven't really been able to show what the river dance is. Maybe Breastickle will. Well, oh no, he can't because he already got the heart container. Sorry, guys, you'll never know. You don't get to see it.
Not in this one, but we'll be trying to cast more races in the future. So
Yeah.
I would
Keep an
tell
eye
them
out.
to go YouTube river dance, but then they're just gonna
yeah,
see some
you'll
bad
probably
dance
get something
videos.
else. You'll probably get something
Right.
else.
So these fence skips, they take a long time. It's pretty important to skip the fence, especially if you're going for PB. You got to get that first fence skip, and these other two you can't skip, so you just got to go through them. Fortunately, it doesn't matter too much how many of those rocks hit you, but we're coming up here on a very important manipulation. We duck into this bridge, resets the timer, we go onto this bit of swamp, and then you've got to do a slink to get by these enemies, or maybe do some sort of dodge to get by them, I don't know. But that second set of enemies, very tough to dodge because they appear so close to you.
Right, so the troll fairy now is going to be able to get into the. Well, I thought he was going to
Or
be able to
he's
get into the
not.
cave. So that's a bit of a shame there, but
Yeah.
there's also one you can do on the way out of the cave. We'll see if he gets that one.
Yep. Yeah, that wasn't the best pattern to work with. He probably could have gotten it if he had better RNG, really. I mean, he clearly knows what the strat is.
By the way, update on Breastickle. He is 2 minutes and 40 seconds ahead of his PB. His last split was gold.
Gold split, 2 gold splits so far in his run. He's crushing it.
And 240 seems to be the magic number because Opus is 240 behind his PB.
Look at this. Okay, look at the strats on Breasticle's stream there. He's
Wow,
not
it's
even
going
going to
around.
mess with that blue iron knuckle. See you later. That's great.
It's like a
I like that.
jailbreak. Just get in and out. No one even knows he was there.
It doesn't seem like that's too much of a time sacrifice either.
It does take a while to fight that iron knuckle.
Yeah. At worst, it maybe loses a couple seconds, but that would be worth it for the added safety.
Plus, it's just cool.
Yeah, it looks kind of funny.
Especially if you're the one who came up with it, and it's like your signature. Like, yeah, I'm probably not going to win this race, but you know what? Look how I get this key. That's pretty cool.
So this town here, 3 things you need to get. First thing is the spell called Spell, and he's gotten that. You use it here on this final screen, and it makes that enormously tall door appear out of the ground. Now he's going to cast Fairy to get the magic key. Magic key means you don't need to collect any more keys, and in fact there will be no keys in Palace 6 except for the ones that you get from the boss and mini-boss kills, which aren't really used for anything. They're useless keys that are only there because that's how the game is programmed to end those encounters, by having
Yeah,
key drops.
Breastickle had a really, really good Goomba fight.
Yeah. He didn't go for the jackhammer strats, but his execution on the more traditional way to fight him was very smooth. And so he did lose a little time from his PB, but he is still like over 2 minutes, well over 2 minutes ahead of his PB, heading into Palace 6, I guess, once he gets through some of this stuff.
Yeah, he got through all those encounters just fine. Didn't go for the fence skip, but he sure managed to avoid those encounters. And because he's getting his magic refilled, he got to cast Fairy for free there. He's going to take 2 magic and 2 life levels. This is pretty standard leveling we're seeing right now. Oh wait, no, he's up to life 7, so that's maybe 1 more than some players will use.
Yeah, he's gonna have to kill some extra stuff in
Yeah, he
Palace
will.
6. I
Yeah,
used
you're
to
gonna
do
get-
this strat too, so it's definitely workable. It just leads to a lot of extra time spent in Palace 6.
Yeah, he's a little bit behind in experience now, but you're going to get... What does he need to pass? What's the threshold for life 7? 4,000?
I
That sounds
believe
right.
so.
Something like that. So he's going to have to make a bid up. You're going to get 700 from Barba, 300 from each of the 2 Ribbonacks, Let me see, 1300. There's 2 blue iron knuckles that you can kill for 150 each. There's Doom Knocker for 100. You can make up the experience.
Yeah, it seems
He's-
like he only needs 250 more from here, and, adding all those enemies that you just said.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's been killing some Lizalfos on the way to New Casito, so he should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and he's gonna kill some Tektites too. We get to see fire in action.
Jamie Viller in chat says JLo says in chat that a lot of the newer players are going for 887 as their ending stats rather than 886. A little safer and a little slower.
Yeah, it makes Thunderbird a little bit safer, I guess.
Mhm.
Probably would let you take an extra hit, if not 2 hits from Thunderbird.
Well, we're watching PAL 6 here on Opus's screen. Oh no,
Oh,
that sucks.
Oh,
Cast jump. Oh, except he can't because we're really magic starved in this palace. Wait a minute, he's already magic 7.
well, he's okay.
I don't even know what this. Okay, I don't even know what this leveling plan is going to be. If you're in here, it's magic 7 already.
Maybe he's slipped up, or maybe he just has his own
know.
thing.
what the
Okay.
heck, Opus?
Now Opus is really trying to make this a tight race. He just fell down. What is it called? The Canadian hole?
Yep, the Canadian hole.
The
All right.
Canadian hole. He fell down. Okay.
As a Canadian,
It's not a hole you want to be lazy about.
I'm intrigued. And,
Oh no.
and also probably just want to let it lie. But yes, there are holes in the floor there that I think the spell reveals. Maybe,
Nope.
or maybe
No.
or
I
the,
think nothing reveals it.
Nothing.
I think.
you
You're
just
supposed-
get trolled, and then okay. But he knows exactly where that hole is. So
Should.
the fact that he slipped in there is kind of surprising.
The whole reason that Moa is in that room is to let you see where the hole is. If you follow the Moa across the room, you'll see its flames stop on the floor in all but the spot where the pit is.
Mm-hmm.
He's through to Rebenak. He does know where to stand for Rebenak. It looks like it's less important to get the. Actually, you don't want to do it at all, do you? When
No, you want to
have
do a quick
attacking.
dismount.
Yeah,
for
this is
the
a different
Palace
one.
6
Yeah, you're
ones.
standing.
Right.
Sorry, yeah. As you're saying, yeah, the quick dismount. You stand a little bit farther to the right than you would. Because your attack is so high, it only takes 2 hits to knock him off the horse and 2 more hits to kill him. And sometimes you can even get that second and third hit happening at the same time. Like it'll be 2 to knock him off the horse and then just 1 more to kill him. I don't know why that works that way sometimes, but it does. And
Well, even with his trip to Canada, he is still a healthy amount ahead of Breastickle. But I mean, if he keeps up this sort of uncharacteristic play, we definitely could see some convergence towards the end of the game here. Breastickle using more fire. Yep, picking up some more experience with these Tektites.
I mean, these Tektites are a nice, easy experience if using fire, but he didn't even stop for that 200 bag, so experience can't be his objective there.
Right. And he doesn't even try to go for a slink coming out of that cave.
Oh. Yeah, and the fact he's killing those Lizalfos means I guess he wants experience after all.
It at some point, like, you can be like, you weighing the benefits of being able to react to that pea bag, for example. Like, you have to think about it to sort of make a decision on it. And unless you're really good at making decisions quickly like that, you can just lose a fair amount of time just staring at a drop and being like, do I need this? Do I go back for it? Maybe you're even wiggling back and forth on the
Yeah, you often see
D-pad.
players go by one and then they'll kind of turn back and then turn around and
Yeah.
turn back again and then move on.
So it is, you could say, you know what? I'm just not going to care about any drops in this cave. Just going to keep going. Not even going to think about it. Not going to lose time there.
What we're seeing right here, the other place where fairy is required, one of the other places, going across that long lava pit. I've heard people speculate about maybe there's some TAS way to just bounce across on
That was
those
me.
bubbles. Was that you? But you're
Yeah.
not the first person to mention that.
I was
get
saying
that on
it
my
would be
stream a
interesting
lot.
to say a task try to downstab bounce across the pit with bubbles.
I don't know if that could work, but that would be really cool to try.
I just want to see it. I know it would never be doable by a human, but if a task could pull that off, that would be amazing to see.
Yeah, that would be amazing if even a task could do that. Okay, so we saw another relatively quick Rebenak. He did not get the quick kill, but that still was a fairly controlled fight. So that's good.
Breastickle also has got some trouble with this block pyramid structure thing. Does end up having to cast jump.
And here's the other required use of Fairy. And he's got plenty left over to cast jump at this boss. So once you enter the screen, this boss screen here, no hesitation. Keep going all the way over to when Barba appears. Because that's going to give you this guaranteed spawn on the right. It's all based on how much time elapses from when you enter the screen to when the boss appears.
Got the one cycle with a bit of jackhammer there.
There's a half jackhammer strat.
Half hammer.
The half hammer, yep.
Jack Haffer.
Jackhaffer. And we've got Breastickle picking up the cross. A spot that we're not going to see him cast Fairy because magic is very limited in this dungeon. You have to, well, you could be casting jump a bunch of times. You can do this pit jump without the jump spell, but not really recommended given how much time you lose by screwing it up.
Yeah, as someone who does not have a lot of experience with Zelda, I can't tell you how nervous that would make me.
It makes me very nervous, and I've played through this plenty of times. I still don't like to do that without jump. I can handle it. See, this thing that you just saw Breastickle do right there, jumping over that gap, that's the same gap size. Except there you can actually see it. And so it makes it much easier to do.
If I get a red jar from the statue on the way out, I just ferry through the room. I don't even deal with jumping over it again.
Exactly.
Opus picks up most powerful magic here. It's the Thunder spell that's it has like a screen clearing effect, but mostly we want it because you need it to make Thunderbird vulnerable and actually beat the game. Plus, it is part of the 100% requirements.
That's right. Thunder, you have to have all magic containers, all 8 magic containers to be able to get, or else he won't give it to you. People often ask why bother going all the way over to New Kasuto to get that magic jar in non-100% categories, and it's because you need all the magic containers, or else you can't get Thunder, which means you can't fight Thunderbird, unless you're planning on doing wrong warps.
Good old Thunderbird skip.
Yeah, the old Thunderbird skip. Yep. So here we got an encounter on the way into Valley of Death. Going to try to do an encounter skip. This fence area really sucks, so you're going to keep trying this until you get it, because you don't want to have to do the fence skip. Did he scroll the screen?
He did not. We might have a despawn. Oh, he's not even going for the jar.
He's not even going for the red jar. There's a red jar that you can get assuming you didn't do certain kind of cryptic things. The red jar will be there, but he's just going to go for it. So this is another encounter skip. These fixed encounters in the lava area are really long and really dangerous. So just, even if you have to spend all day trying to get the encounter skip, you should do it, because you don't want to go through these.
Yeah, even the random ones are dangerous. I've seen them claim a lot of runs, especially when you don't have the candle. So this is all in the dark. Or the cross too, yes.
Well, yeah, you have to have the candle and the cross to be able to really make use of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I was doing New Game Plus No Out of Bounds for a while, I was going through this whole stretch without the candle or the cross. Not fun.
Even an experienced player like Opus is stopping to upstab these monsters, make sure they're dead and out of the way before moving on. Not taking any chances. And I guess he's probably feeling a little shaky after some of these mistakes he's made, so you certainly can't blame him.
He gets the scorpion down stab. It's one of the most deceptive tricks. It looks like it should be easy, but it's such a pain, that scorpion.
No, it likes to throw you up into the ceiling, and then you get stuck against the ceiling, as opposed to being able to get under it and over the scorpion.
Right. And then it just waits there, and you're just sitting there bouncing off of it, hoping that it'll move, but it won't. You're going to have to eventually take damage. I like to use the spell there just to turn it into a bot and not
That's-
even worry about that stupid scorpion.
It's the same thing I do. It's a really, really good strat, and it's not like you need the XP from that scorpion.
No, see what the oh well I'm not really too familiar with this leveling plan, but the leveling plan that I use and that I think most of the people towards the top of the leaderboard use involves getting magic level 8 sometime around the end of Valley of Death or the beginning of Palace 7. So you're going to get a magic refill anyway.
Yeah,
So you may as well use that magic.
I usually get the magic level 8 from the Redless Alphos before Great Palace.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you get 100 from that. So that will be just what you need to put you over the top. And you know, if you,
Sorry,
Go ahead.
while we were gabbing away there, Breastickle actually got to the spot in Palace 6 where you're supposed to cast Fairy. Didn't have enough magic to cast Fairy and just kept going and had to loop around.
that sucks.
So
Yeah,
he's
you have to go way
yeah,
back.
it's gonna probably take a game over here from Opus to make this happen for Breasticle, but
Opus
But,
should still have some cushion lives left from not death abusing in Palace 4. But it looks like Breasticle's still on pace for a PB.
still 51 seconds ahead. Yeah.
I mean, it stinks losing a tournament race, but on the same page, it takes some of the sting out if you happen to PB
Yes.
during your loss.
If you come to the tournament and do literally your best, it's hard to be mad about the outcome.
Yeah, you did all you could do.
One of my favorite things is Jam Eviler versus Shiner. Both of them PB'd in the race.
And here we see 878 on Breasticle's screen right here. I don't think he's going to have enough experience to get up to 888, but he might. I don't know.
I wonder if he's got some planned spots to grab some experience, even if he has to waste some time to do it. I feel like
I don't know.
there's not many great spots for experience at this point.
Not to make up 4,500. Probably not.
Yeah, even if he takes out every MOA in the Valley of Death screens, plus both Blueless Alphos and the Redless Alphos, and every enemy in Great Palace, he won't have the XP by Thunderbird.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's just not enough XP there.
Maybe after Thunderbird, because Thunderbird gives you 1,000, maybe getting a magic refill for Dark Link. But what do you need a magic refill for Dark Link for?
If you're on your last life and you're low on health, that could be the clutch
Maybe.
life refill that saves your run.
It could be. It could be. Well, we'll see what he does with it.
Yeah, this should be
Maybe
interesting.
He's prepared this sort of super safe strat, and isn't really prepared to do a more risky one, even though that's kind of what it's going to take to come out on top in this race.
So it was speculated. It is speculated that maybe he wanted 887, and he just took the wrong one.
That's true.
Yeah, a life level 8, not that useful, I don't think, but magic level 8, what a difference. The difference is at Thunderbird, if you have magic level 8, you can cast, obviously you got to cast Thunder, but you can also cast Jump, which is the next most important thing, lets you do a much faster fight. The next most important thing is Shield, you can cast that, takes a lot less damage from getting hit, and then you can cast Reflect, which lets your shield block the fireballs.
I think with Magic 7 and a full bar, you can get away with Jump and Shield.
Yep, yes, right. You can get
Without
away with
Reflect.
Thunder, Jump, and Shield, but not Reflect. And Reflect is the least important of them, so that's fine.
I don't know, I prefer Reflect over Shield.
You prefer Reflect over Shield? Okay.
Yes. It serves two purposes. I mean, it lets your shield block the fireballs, but it also slightly shrinks Link's hitbox to the point where you can visibly
Really?
see fireballs go directly through Link and not hurt him.
Yeah, it sure looks like the fireballs are really passing right through you, so yeah, it's something about it.
Like, I won't go for the Panic Dolphin strats if I don't have Reflect. And it looks like Opus got a 3-cycle, a quick 3-cycle, but a 3-cycle nonetheless.
All right.
To go ahead and restart my stream.
Yeah, he got quality options just then, so I had to restart mine too.
Me as well. So yeah, sorry about the black screen on Opus's side, everybody. That was quality options. I had nothing to do with it.
Basically, Twitch's fault.
Yep.
I mean, we'll blame Twitch for just about anything, but honestly, this one was on them.
Right. High quality options at a low quality moment. So we
Oh,
see,
no. Good save. Breastickle
Yeah.
almost took a lava bath.
Meanwhile, Opus finishing it
Finishes
off
this
here. His final time is a 1:22.08, so he is going to advance in the winner's bracket. But I'm still really curious to see if Breastickle comes away with a PB here.
That's right. Everything's gone pretty well for him. After that, the missing the ferry, everything beyond that's been going pretty well.
It looks like he's got about 7 minutes to finish off Great Palace and still get a PB, so he's definitely in shape to get a nice PB here with a good GP.
Though he's looking low on resources, health, and magic.
I think he has 1 life.
He might. He also has a shot at a red jar. It's a 50-50 shot. Getting a jar from one of these statues along here. Let's hope that he gets it. But yeah, if you have an extra life to work with, there's a nice quick spot to die a couple rooms before Thunderbird that gets all the things refilled. You know, your magic and your health refilled. Very good timing. But I don't know how many lives he has left.
You get a peek at it when he opens the menu, right?
Correct.
So
I'm
keep
not
an eye
sure
out.
when he will.
He
Probably
does.
just the-
Yeah, he doesn't have much magic, so I don't know if he's gonna cast anything.
Yeah, I mean, he has enough to cast Jump, which is certainly going to be important in the Scott Bakula room.
Yes, the
Scott
Faka, I
Bakula.
believe, is their official term. Scott Bakula is the hilarious and much better term. And let me through.
Wow, Clutch. Don't
Wow.
be killed by the bot now. I thought
The
he
bot.
would be killed by the bot.
Oh man, and these knives are still
going.
Yeah, they do. They're just relentless. These bird
He's
knights.
going for. Oh, here's some interest. Here's some old
Yes.
school strats right here.
Yes.
He's going in this wall. You got a 50-50 shot at it, and you have to cast Jump each time. So it is quite a gamble, and he did not get it.
Uh-oh.
He
People
rolled
might not
snake
even
eyes.
realize that you can do that.
Still going. He's got a sliver of both.
I don't even know if he has a 1-up right now. What's he gonna do? He's got to push this spicy chicken off the screen here.
If he's on his last life and he finishes this run, it could be one of the most clutch things I've seen in this tournament so far.
Yeah, because he's on a sliver of life right now. He gets a red jar. Oh my god, he's dead though. He's dead.
No!
Oh.
Oh,
He's
no.
got 2 more lives. Come on.
Oh,
You
Aw.
were worried for nothing.
he's fine. Darn.
That's still unfortunate because he's got to go all the way back through this room, but that could have been a lot worse.
Could have been
He's
a
got
lot
2
worse.
extra lives. I'm over here messing my undies up for nothing.
Jeez.
All right. So this room is with this is the Scott Bakula room.
Yeah. These
so-
so these things can jump 4 blocks high.
Right.
And
They can throw beams up to 5 blocks high.
Yes, and they will simply not leave you alone.
He's in some
Yeah.
trouble.
Following him in now.
And
he's
they're
in
hard
a-
to sell to kill too, as you just saw. He tried to jackhammer him there, and that was a no-go. And so now he's eating a couple shots on the way out.
And to make it even more insulting, when you do manage to kill one of those things, they barely give you any XP at all. They give you XP in line with like a Stalfos. They give you like 70 for the red and 100 for the blue, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Japanese
It's
version they give
incredible.
more, but that's the Japanese version.
And here we have another bad pattern from this bird knight.
They are just jumping straight at him.
Yeah, it's about a 1 in 3 chance that he's going to jump into the gap. Or
Going
into
full on
low skill
Terminator
area,
mode.
I mean. Yeah.
All the way
Wow, that
down.
thing chasing
I'll
him
be
all the way down.
Beak.
Oh boy.
All right, one last spicy chicken, and everything else after this is pretty easy up to the boss fight. A little bit of beeping to keep things interesting. Is he planning on taking a death? Is that why he's not casting life here?
Yeah, he probably figures he's gonna death abuse in the lava room anyways. Why waste the time menuing? Or that can happen.
Gotta upstab.
So
We were just talking about upstab there.
Poke. Keep going.
That's
no
not
threat.
the worst. He would have just died in this room if he was going to take the
Right.
intentional
Yeah.
death.
In fact, that
Now-
maybe was what he was planning to do.
I saw him upstab a little bit.
Okay,
I
okay.
think he was.
It was a mistake.
I think it was a mistake. But that's not a bad place for a mistake. But now he has no more buffer lives. This
Right.
is his last one.
So even though he's fully prepared, Thunderbird is it's not an easy fight. It's not free by any means, and he does not have the shield spell. No, he does not have reflect.
Yeah, he did Thunder Jump Shield right now.
So these fireballs are a threat. But he's
I
having a
think
pretty
he's
good
in
go of
shape.
it. I think he's going to be fine. Dark Link is not free either. He can mess with you a little bit. So you do feel better going into that fight with more health than he does have. I think he's going to be okay.
one thing I've noticed with Dark Link with a lot of the newer runners is when Dark Link jumps in at them, they'll just kind of stand there and take the hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, what we saw Pres J Poke last night, I think it was, who showed us that you can do some fly-looking stuff to avoid taking damage when Link jumps in on you.
Right before Dark Link lands, you just jump
There it is.
straight up. Yep, Breastickle got it. Nice.
Breastickle knows what to do. Yeah.
Nice. So I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he clearly knows the strats for this fight. Made short work of Dark Link and times in at 128.20.
Minus 46, a new PB for him.
Yep. Well done.
Yeah. That
Looks
was...
like the dot done didn't want to finish for him. He's typing it like 17 times, but it's not. What?
No, he finished. Wait,
Did he?
what's happening?
He's typing
only
it,
typed
but
it
I
once.
haven't seen the race bot message.
I think your IRC's going crazy because it looks fine on my end.
Okay.
It looks fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
really
totally,
good
I totally
race.
don't see RaceBot say anything, so he must have had something similar. Chad is psyched. Look at that. Nice PB in a tournament race. So he does not out of the tournament. He is in the losers bracket. This is a double elimination tournament. So he will go down, and maybe he will even know who he's gonna.
Yeah, let's go. Well, I know that on the winners bracket, Opus is going to be moving up to face Pres J Poke, who won a match yesterday. So in round 3, it's going to be Opus versus Prez. They have kind of similar PBs. I think Prez's is a few minutes slower, but they're both sub 120s.
I believe they're literally exactly 1 minute apart. Opus has a 118.05, Prez has a 119.05.
All right, so that's going to be very close. That'll be quite a race. Down in the losers bracket,
It's going to be the winner of Insult versus Highlanders CGB, who is going to be Breasticle's opponent. Insult sent to losers bracket by Pres J Poke last night. He had one of the worst runs he's ever had, maybe. Was not good. He had lots of really weird mistakes, just like not thinking mistakes. You know, like I forgot to do a palace. Just whoops.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was like, "Can I just stop after Prez finished?" And people were, "No, finish it out."
Right.
And yeah, he's not thrilled about that, and he is capable of better. So
Yeah, he's a very experienced player of Zelda
that's
too.
right.
So
he has
it
the world
was
record
not from
in
lack of
one
experience
the
or anything.
categories. He has the world record in the any percent super glitched category.
No, Opus does.
No,
He has the
he lost it.
Insult has the world record for glitched New Game Plus.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Opus
New Game
has the glitched any percent world record.
So he is experienced with doing the Great Palace, and he did have a really strong Great Palace in the race. But the rest of the stuff, he admitted beforehand, like, I'm really shaky. I've done it maybe 3 times in the past year, and it showed. It showed in that race. So we'll see if he's gonna prepare and come into his match in the losers bracket with a little more well, a little more preparation and just a little more gusto, I guess, and see if he can be the one who meets Breastickle down in the losers bracket. Are there any other tournaments? It's pretty late now. It's almost midnight, so I don't think we have any more.
I think the only other thing that's on the schedule is that the Simple Dude Paratroopa run race got postponed because Simple was having internet problems. So that'll probably be rescheduled sometime in the next couple days because we are at the deadline for when the races have to get done by. So probably can't be going too much longer.
Well, that is going to be it for us tonight. But you're going to see more of the Zelda 2 tournament on this channel and others. Should we direct people to some channels to follow and keep an eye out for?
We sure can.
What is going on
We'll
here?
be streaming some on this channel. A lot of them will be on the Ludendi stream. And let's see. A couple people have streamed them. Yeah, Ludendi's been doing a lot. Scavenger has done a few. Opus has done a few.
Well, you should just follow Scavenger in general. Just
Yeah,
it's
in
awesome,
general,
and just because he made that layout, because man, sharp.
Right. And certainly follow these two runners. We'll get their Twitch addresses in there. Because they both play some Zelda 2 from time to time, so you'll want to check that out.
And thanks to Feasel and Mythical here for doing some commentary and restreams for us. It definitely helps with the limited amount of people we have doing them right now.
Yep, and
Thank
thanks,
you very
Skip.
much for helping us with our restream.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no problem. I had nothing going on tonight. This was fun.
It was good. It's a good watch. Opus614?
Correct. Or as Pres J Polk called him recently, Opus216.
Oh, I get it.
He apparently got our names mixed up somehow. Well, me and Opus are both from Ohio, and the 216 in my name is just the area code for Cleveland, so I could see
so
why
that
Pres
does
would
work.
have done that.
But the bracket is challenge.com. I think it's just the Zelda 2
T2
tourney.
tourney. Yep.
Did people let the people do predictions on it?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't do predictions. Too bad. Missed my chance.
I didn't do them
Who's
either,
winning?
but the option
No, I
was
don't-
there.
I don't see it though.
I don't even see how to see them.
Maybe you had
Oh.
to do one to see it, or maybe that didn't happen.
No, maybe we just didn't have predictions on this.
Looks like they
bracket.
didn't, because otherwise it would have shown them.
Ah well, next
Anyway.
time, next tournament. Because there's been a Zelda 1 tournament, a Zelda 2 tournament. I'm not going to be surprised if we see more single game tournaments around some of these more popular, more complex games, and I'm pretty sure we'll see these Zelda tournaments return
Next year.
maybe in a year.
Yep.
So definitely
What was that?
keep an
Absolutely.
eye out. Lots of Zelda,
What are you
and while
doing?
you're here on Speed Gaming TV,
We do a few things on this channel
yeah,
that
we do some other things. So
Yeah.
we particularly do a Speed Gaming League, which is a speedrun competition where 4 people come together and they compete in a series of 30-minute matches. And there's a strategy element to it that is not there in other formats, and I think makes our show pretty cool. And we're in the middle of a tournament, our playoffs actually. We're into the quarterfinals. We're just about. I think just one more group we have to get caught up, and then we'll be officially in the quarterfinals. And we've already got some matches going, so it's going to be some of our best, some of the highest level play we've had, and it should be really good. I think we have a match coming up on Wednesday.
Yep, and then another one on Sunday.
Right. So you can go to our site, speedgaming.tv, and on there is a
Got it.
there's a
Yep,
schedule, and yeah, you did. And there's also a calendar on there. Check out the calendar. There's all kinds of cool speedrun stuff going on, and that calendar's the place to go. And if you see something you want on there, then send us an email or a Twitter. There's links on the page, and we'll definitely add it to the calendar. And I guess we should try to add these Zelda 2 races to this calendar as well.
Yeah, I try to remember to add those. But speaking of that, let me post the calendar for Zelda 2 races.
Spawning on top of me.
Um, this spreadsheet here shows who's going to be racing whom and where it's going to be restreamed. That's probably the best.
That's probably the
resource
first thing
for-
we should have gave them.
Probably should have just done that. But yeah, check that out. And that's right now, there's not really a lot of new things scheduled, but they will be popping up over the next week. This is where they're going to appear.
Yeah, me and EA Ray Lewis will be scheduling our race in the next couple days here.
Nice. Definitely look for that.
Cool. Well, that's it for me.
That's it for us.
Yes, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.